right. So I think you gave the spiritual thought last time, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll give it this time if you want to give a prayer.
Sure. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this day and for the opportunity that we have to get together as classmates and friends and stewards of that gospel to discuss this case, and ask that we might do so in a way that we can learn and understand as thou would have us, and seek thy guidance with this and in our daily lives. Ask that we might know how to best serve thee, Father, and ask that we can be grateful for the things that have been given to us. We say these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So something I've been thinking about lately is I'm in on campus. I'm in a religion class, the Foundations of the Restoration, and it's been really interesting. But it's kind of interesting to see how certain parts of the gospel can shake people's faith, because we don't really. There's certain things that have happened we don't necessarily understand all the way, and so some people let it shake their faith because they don't understand it 100%. And I think that's how sometimes we work, is we want to understand something perfectly, and in the gospel it's kind of hard to do that in certain places. But if we move ahead with faith, we were talking kind of about this today, that if we move ahead in faith, eventually we'll be able to be there and meet our maker, and things we'll understand more when we meet our Heavenly Father. And so I actually really like that principle, because it causes us to learn and to grow. We shouldn't operate on perfect knowledge all the time. And so if we don't and we still move forward, how much greater is it for us, that at the end he said, you didn't understand this certain concept, like the one that was brought up today was polygamy. You didn't understand the reason for that, but now that you're here, this is why. But how great are you that you still move forward even though you didn't understand a certain principle or a certain thing that has happened in the past.
Yeah.
Something that's kind of been on my mind lately is I'm the kind of person that I just want to know everything, but sometimes we can't, but we still move forward. So I don't know if that made sense.
Totally. And I mean, I think it's a trial, whether it's sickness, illness, I don't know, that concept of getting blessings in the form of trial. And I think that stuff is also like the same way, where I ask why, or like why I'm going through what I'm going through. How does this apply to me? Like, why do I deserve this? And I think that's kind of in the same spirit, where we kind of have to like move forward in faith and move forward with like a knowledge that, like, we might not have a perfect knowledge or a perfect understanding of why things are happening right now, but that's all right, that we're not supposed to. And that's where the faith is required. I mean, it would be so easy to know why and not have to ask those questions, and to just have that perfect knowledge. But then would like faith play a part? Then where would there would be no use for faith. It'd be like,
it'd be
having
pointless.
seen God. It'd be pointless. And so I think it's just an interesting concept.
For sure.
I don't know if this applies or not, but we were talking this morning at work, and it's in a church talk. They made this comment like that the further away you get from the giver, like the more entitled kind of you become. And so, like, if I'm like drifting away from God, if I'm drifting away from the Savior in my like personal life and my spiritual connection, it becomes really easy to start thinking that I should know what things should look like. And I think that when I'm in that position, it's a lot easier to ask why and to make demands and understand how things are supposed to look. And but if I'm close to God and I'm in a place where I can trust, like, it's a little bit easier. That stuff comes a little bit easier to me, at least. So
Yeah, for sure.
right
Yeah.
on, man.
Awesome. What did you think of the case?
It was all right.
Yeah.
It was cool. I I mean, it wasn't my favorite one, but it was also like kind of interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was like definitely like educational. Wasn't like, yeah, super exciting or anything by any means, but it was like he gave me some thought. So for sure.
For sure, it gave me some thought, and like also just as far as like as far as just different job opportunities, different like markets. I don't know a whole lot about the real estate market or potential opportunities there, so it's kind of cool to learn about that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, as far as the actual case goes, like I don't even know. So it's just kind of asking if they should seek that $5 million
Yeah.
round. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm kind of I don't know really which one. I think it could work out, but then I think of the one we did maybe a month or a few weeks ago where you don't want to take too much money too early. So I kind of thought about that because I mean they kind of got their base going, and they're kind of having that progress going, but then it's like boom, 5 million, and it's like, so my mind kind of is caught up on that one we did a few weeks ago, where I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've talked before about how that can, like, if right. Well, at least initially it said that their burn rate was super low and they didn't have a lot of, like, they had a really humble, really modest, like, expenses. And I think they've grown since it was talking about that. But, yeah, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and it's like if you take it, that's a lot of expectations that are instantly there. And they hinted on this a little bit. It's like when you have a lot of money, I like for myself, if I have like a lot of money, when I get my tax return, I'm like spending like crazy. And then one day
Yeah.
it comes along and I don't have it anymore.
And
And
it's
then
all
it's like,
gone.
what do you do when you don't have it anymore?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thoughts. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I think they could do great with it, but then I think it's a little early for it. I don't know. I could be totally wrong.
Well, but it didn't really talk about the expectation of what that would mean or of equity or, right?
No, I don't remember it talking much about that.
So I'm not really sure what's on the line. Obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know if their cash reserves are 430. Their monthly revenue is
I think they were
40
losing
grand.
like what? I think it was like they had 44,000. I think they were losing like 4,000 a month. I could be wrong.
They're losing 14,000.
14. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I remember they were losing money.
but that was before the launch of that new product, though.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to think about. I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's not too early. Maybe they've established enough where they can take on this big investment, and maybe that's what it takes to move them forward and start to blow this other competition that's come up out of the water.
Right. When it makes this comment, it's easy to stop. It's easy to start spending, but it's really hard to stop.
Yeah.
And raising too much money too soon has killed a lot of companies.
Yeah. So, and that's where I'm kind of like, they shouldn't, because he's obviously nervous about it. Like, he was thinking about it, and he's like, yeah, when it's there, it's easy to just keep spending, but when it's not, like, so he's really nervous about this, as he should be. This is like,
Right.
that'd be a huge commitment. And then you get
Right.
$5 million, they expect you to perform right out of the gate.
For sure.
It's like, I'm not gonna pay someone a ton of money and then they're not gonna be good at their job. So
Well, I guess we're kind of talking about the questions, but it says, should David Vivera raise money now? Yes or no? If yes, what should he do with the money? And so I've what the consensus is. What are the pros? I mean, the pros, like, they'd be able to maybe bring on some additional, like an additional technical engineer, to get the
yeah,
new software up and going and launched. But
they could
I mean,
probably build a better sales force with that money. I mean,
right.
and they could probably have better offices and stuff like that as well, like a better headquarter area.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now it said they have cash in the bank of 430,000. So if they have $500,000 in the bank, like, I don't know that bringing on an additional 5 million is really, like, makes sense. But it also kind of threw in there, hinted at, like, how it was it was kind of a rough time with the financial market crash
Yeah,
in 2008, and at least before this offer came up, that it was talking about how some offers, like, were either reduced or rescinded. And so the fact that they're getting such a big offer, maybe that's a sign that they take it, or that, because who knows what's
who knows
happening
what's
next.
coming?
Yeah, what's gonna happen next? Because, I mean,
Yeah,
like, also, like, I don't know what's worse, not having enough money or having too much money.
yeah,
Because I think both of them, you run into issues.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, either way, you need money. And if you run out, you're pretty much done. I mean, what do you do if you run out of money? You'd have to give up a ton of your company somehow to try to make more money.
Right.
Yeah.
in the hopes that you could get the money, like
Yeah.
with hopes that the money is there to get, And I think there's probably like some emotional fuel to making a decision with how the competition is. There's that new company that's coming in and threatening kind of their business model, and so they probably have some
Yeah.
additional like external motivation to
And wasn't that what
get funding.
didn't they say that this money could give them what it took to become profitable? Like, didn't they say hint to that? Like, this is the money. We get the money. This could very well help us to reach the steps of profitability.
Maybe.
I think it
I'm
said
looking right
something
now.
like that.
I don't know. I just searched for profit and I couldn't.
Yeah, I
I
can
don't know
see.
that
I thought they
see.
kind of like alluded to it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mixing something up. I don't know. What do you think? Would you take the money or would you wait?
I'd probably take the money.
Yeah, $5 million. I think they're starting to build a good enough base where taking the money right now might not ruin them. Like, I think it's different if like I started a company today and then 2 weeks from now they're like, we'll give you $5 million.
Yeah, that'd be a bad idea.
I think they're bringing in people that they could probably take the money as well. Like, I think that as well. They could probably do it. You got to be careful. You got to make sure you don't just get this money and you're like, all right, let's go shopping. I think you got to be careful. But yeah.
So yeah, they're 2 years in right now, I think. If they started in 08, it's late 2010. It's been a while. I like how that dude, when our boy, what's his name, Viviro, was still in college, and he's like, you need money, but like let's see how far you can get with no money.
Without it. Yeah.
And I think they're at a point where, I mean, they went from going from doing 1,500 in revenue a month to, I think now they're doing 40, and they're about to launch that new project, the real time whatever. And I mean, I don't know. Definitely going to take some additional work on at least from like a sales standpoint, to get that up and going and make the necessary changes and updates to that. And thinking about how the timeline it took for Real Juice to become profitable, not profitable, but to revamp their like sales model from the fee-based to the subscription-based, and like that same process, like maybe in different regards, would, I mean, likely be the same with the other one. And so they probably will have like a higher burn rate, and I think it might not be a bad idea to have some capital on hand because they're still at a negative cash flow.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
Yeah, they can bring on some other employees, like trudge through the time of the negative cash flow, get those things worked out, and be able to.
Yeah, I think you work on like lead gen. You get some lead generation going. Too, you get better sales team. You get some more technical people involved, and I think that helps them out a ton in the long run.
For sure.
I think that's a big portion of what they should do with the money is just kind of getting it to if you're not selling this thing, you're not making money. So I'd work on like getting the sales.
For sure. I think they are. I think it's just continuing to be a struggle process.
Yeah.
So I'm running out to the car, getting a IV Pro. I got a headache. What's the next question?
So I think we kind of went over like what he should do with the money. The next part is, why do investors care about customer lifetime value and customer acquisition cost and sales conversion data? I know like for like conversion rates and stuff, they want to know that you can get people in, that it's not like you're calling 1,000 people and one person is like taking your pitch pretty much.
Yeah.
I think that'd be important for me, is to see, yeah, people are actually biting on this. Like they actually want to try this out.
Yeah. I don't know if I like the customer acquisition costs, sales conversion data, customer lifetime value. Let's see, in marketing, CLV is the prediction of the net profit attributed to the entire future relationship with the customer. So I guess like that might be easier prediction for like investors to see with the subscription based model, because like whereas before they were the per lead, getting paid per lead, which who knows how that's gonna end up.
Yeah.
But if you charge more for the subscription, that might be a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah. No, for sure. That might be like, and that might improve the lifetime of the customer, like how long they're gonna last with you.
Right.
So for sure, yeah. I think really why they care about it is it they really want to know if it's scalable. Like can they scale this business out? Where it's not just like maybe right now they're in one city, but can they make this work in several cities or in the world? So yeah, I think that's kind of like a big thing I would ask if I was an investor. I want to make sure that you can really scale this thing out.
Yeah. So they have a 2% conversion.
Yeah. Right now, that's what they got 2 out of 100 people they called.
Yeah. So, that's, I think just, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think that's just good to know for like how to, like with the sales, sales is sales. You got to make 100 calls and like
only 2 people are going to take it.
Right. And if you're not making those calls, like you're not going to get the numbers.
Yeah. And that's something they have to improve. Like on the internet, that's great. A 2% conversion is about average on the internet. when people are clicking on a website. But but when you're over the phone, I imagine that's pretty low. And so they gotta get a better pitch or something. But like, because when you're talking to someone, you're gonna want to be able to sell that product where they just go for it. So yeah, I think that's something they definitely have to increase. And I think investors probably need to know that.
For sure. So it's asking us to figure out the life
Value,
yeah.
annual churn, late revenue. Not sure how you get it. I'll be right back. I have to use the restroom real quick.
Okay.
You get anything figured out?
I'm done, kind of lost. I'm trying to read stuff and figure it out. I'm not quite there yet.
Um,
Yeah, math is not my strong suit. My brain is a slow math brain. Yeah, I'm stuck. I'm not good at this part.
Um, so this model's saying it's just profit multiplied by years minus the acquisition cost.
Yeah, I'm looking for trying to find the exact profit. Christine. But yeah, that's from what I've been reading. That sounds about right.
Well, I don't know where we factor in the gross margin or the churn rate, though.
Yeah, that's where I'm lost as well. Well, everything I'm reading is talking about the acquisition cost and the profit. I just can't see anything for churn rate or margin. Is it average monthly subscription? This is what this thing's something I found. Saying average monthly subscription payment times gross margin divided by churn rate.
So it's saying what?
This one's saying average monthly subscription payment times gross margin divided by the churn rate.
Um, well, we could do that. Guess what? I'm confused is like any time span.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm confused about as well. Like, how do I determine what the time span is as well? Like, I don't know how you determine that. Let's see.
But so you said the
So
monthly
it's
profit.
times gross margin divided by the churn rate.
So profit.
I could be wrong. That's what this thing is telling me. I just Googled it.
Huh. And then you either add or subtract the freaking the CAC, the cost of acquisition.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Subtract, I think. I think you subtract.
Yeah, I think you do too, because that's how this other model. So I looked at a model that didn't have like really anything except it was just the CAC and the monthly profit. It didn't have any other data.
Yeah.
So I guess without the CAC, it's telling me that it's 686, but that's without factoring in.
The CAC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look up some YouTube on this
Yeah.
because I am not quite. I'm clear as mud right now.
Right.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, I guess I don't know. From what we know, it's probably that plus or minus the 2,300, right?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I guess just move on. How well is the sale funnel at Rent Juice working? What can you think of to improve it? How can you reduce CAC?
I don't think it's working like super great right now. I think they don't have. I don't know if they have much of like a pitch. I think that could be part of the problem because I feel like they're getting shut down like a lot. I think like a lot of people aren't even really listening to like they kind of just like almost like hang up on them.
Probably.
I think out of the 100 or so calls, I think they get a good portion that don't even want to hear what they have to say at all.
Right. That's, I would guess, pretty congruent with like any sales job, I would imagine.
Yeah. So out of the 100, 21 decision makers agree to speak with them. Of all of those, 9 agreed to a web demonstration and 2 subscribe to Rent Juice.
Right.
So I think I think one of the things they have to do is they have to really think of who this could be. I think you think of almost like a specific market, who you're really trying to hit out of these like brokers and stuff. And then from there, you have to just figure out how to pitch to them how you pitch to them to get them to do a web demonstration. Because I think the 9 people out of 9 people to do the web demonstration, 2 of them subscribe. So it's just a matter of getting them to the web demo.
Yeah, because I wonder if there's a way to streamline all that process and not involve so much actual time. Like
You got to do this, yeah. It's like
way
so
to
many steps.
Yeah, if there's any of those steps that can be
Reduced.
reduced or save time on. I wonder if there's like a way to have like a qualifying call.
Yeah.
But
No,
like,
because it's awesome that the 9 that come, like 2 out of 9 is pretty darn good.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So maybe just figure out a way to streamline the sales pitch and the sales process. Maybe market like online with something.
Yeah. I like Google AdWords and stuff like that. You can do things like that. And yeah. SEO and all that kind of good stuff. That's what I would do. I think some online things would cut your costs too because you're not you're not really paying someone to make the calls and things as well,
Right.
where it's just on their own free will that they go to your site and things. Because if you could get people to that web demo without anyone having to make the call, I'm sure that could lower your prices.
For sure. For sure. And I mean, and thus driving down the CAC,
Yeah,
you're not wasting time like with customers that are not going to buy from you.
yeah, for sure. That's what I would do. I think that really could help them out a ton.
Word, how should Vivero respond to the new competition?
I think they have to figure out. I think they're a little stuck on like their exact business model, so they just really have to just decide what we're doing, you know, and then from there move forward.
What's the new product that they're coming up with that's kind of in competition with?
Yeah,
So he's just talking about in the case how he wishes he would have spent more time focusing on that earlier on and been able to get that launched more quickly without, I don't know, competition coming up. So as far as like how he should respond to that competition, I mean, acquiring more capital to put into the development of the software, help with the launch more quickly.
yeah, and maybe that's what it is. It kind of all ties into that capital and the money. Just get that money, and then once you have the money, find like, you know, get it out there as fast as you can. Get a good price point. Yeah, but I think it all comes back to, yeah. I think if they got with the money, I think they could probably, because this new competition is brand new, so they could kind of squash it with kind of being a bigger company right away.
So maybe purchase that software.
Yeah, I think you get the good software, you spend a little to start making it.
Well, I was going to say purchase the competition software, an idea of what they're offering, so you can mimic that or offer a similar or better product to what they're already releasing.
Yeah, or maybe you try to just acquire that other company. What was it, a couple case studies back? Those guys were competing with them, and they're like, you guys shouldn't even be competing with us. And they just kind of wanted to take them on.
Yeah, maybe that's what they do with the $5 million.
Yeah. You just use all their resources and your resources, and that might be a little out there. It's a thought.
Yeah, or I mean, even if it wasn't like purchase them entirely, but buy like a huge equity stake and work together, pool the resources, pool the model,
Yeah.
work together. I don't know.
Yeah.
But with them being so new, who knows? Like, I feel like buying a company right out of the gate before it's proven itself
Yeah, it could be very bad.
kind of a risky
That's
dice.
really risky.
So,
Yeah, I think you spend the money, you work on your own software and your own product and make sure it's like top notch. But then it also leaves enough like skin in the game for you where you can still make money and you have an awesome product. I think that could be a good option.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. I think you also, I think a lot of it has to do with the CLV and the CAC, you know. You make sure that it doesn't cost so much to acquire a customer, and that helps you save a lot too.
Right.
If you save on that, I think it would do leaps and bounds for you.
Right. Well, and I feel like knowing a little bit more about the monthly revenue or about the duration of the clients, and maybe that information isn't provided because it's such a new company, but if somebody's going to be, well, I know, hang on. So I think what we do, so at least as far as the year lifetime CLV, I think it's 81.21.
Okay.
Because before just doing it with the 440, that would be like the CLV for 1 month. So instead of doing it for 1 month, like the cost of acquisition is like a total lifetime cost. So that's only going to get bigger the longer if the customer is a lifetime customer, you pay $2,300 to acquire them, but over the next 50 years, they bring in X amount of dollars. Like that's a super low CAC.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have them for a month and they don't like the service and they dip and you just spent the $2,300, you maybe earned that little bit of revenue. And so I don't know, based on the formula we looked at earlier, but just taking the monthly or the yearly revenue multiplied by the gross margin, divide by the churn rate, and then subtract the acquisition cost.
Cool.
Oh, and that will. So probably what I'm gonna do is make like a chart to like what that looks like each year, because each year that the customer is on, I think that cost is going to go down because they're going to be bringing in every month. They're bringing in $440 more, but the cost to acquire them stays the same. So it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So, anyways, so I guess we kind of talked about the course of action, just applying a bunch of resources to taking that investment round, applying a bunch of resources to the new competition, to that product. I don't know, maybe doing some research to make sure that they have a superior product. And maybe it makes sense, like if they don't have a superior product, like that they focus on the one that they do have.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can't make any rash decisions. I think that's probably pretty smart to see what they actually have.
Because if they have a killer product and you're wanting to take this huge round, the $5 million round, to be in competition with them, maybe that's just not a wise move.
Yeah.
Maybe you let them buy you.
Yeah, maybe you figure something out where I think you can't do anything unless you know what they're doing. That's a good point.
What direct it, you know?
Yeah, I think when I think of that, I just like think of I've been seeing commercials for Disney World and Universal Studios, and they kind of go back and forth because they recognize each other's products. Where it's like they kind of take a small shot at each other, so you got to kind of recognize what your competition's doing.
Yeah.
Because they say like Universal Studios, like, well, Dad, Mom, Dad, I'm not a kid anymore, and then Disney World's kind of trying to combat that with, like, you can always be a kid here.
Yeah.
So they kind of recognize, you know, their competition.
How to market better.
Yeah, and
Interesting.
I think maybe use the internet better. I mean, you can't today. The internet should be one of your most like key resources.
Yeah.
It's just that's how the world is.
For sure, man.
Until mind reading comes about, in 2050, internet's all we got.
I think that will happen before 2050. But yeah,
Cool, man.
agree. Well, dude. Let me. Is that it?
Yeah, I think we're
Right on.
cool, man.